All right, welcome to the first ever episode of That's Healthy, right? Where we make sense of the news so you don't have to. Adam, Merry Christmas.
Patrick, Happy Hanukkah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
It's funny because I'm Jewish, you're not.
maybe I could be though. You kind of adopted me.
I have. He's a full-fledged member of the Born Fitness family. And what are we here to talk about today?
And I'm pretty sure that it's in my contract to call you daddy. So that would then make me somewhat Jewish. Anyways, so I've come across a few things this week online that have just really boggled my mind. And I don't understand how such large publications can actually produce such content. So I need you to help me clarify and help everybody else understand what exactly they're trying to say and why they're saying it.
All right, this does not surprise me at all, but let's start. What's the first article?
First article I came across was out of Business Insider. I was trying to find you some business tips, and unfortunately I came across some nutrition advice.
Okay.
And this article had to do with, if you're worried about holiday weight gain, here's the number one ingredient that you should be on the lookout for. Can you guess what that was?
Pie.
Be a very sad day, but
It's Jordan.
somewhat. Oh, there's Jordan Bornstein. That would make him my brother in earlier scenarios. The number one ingredient you're supposed to avoid is sugar.
Oh, sugar. Yeah.
And their recommendation is to avoid sugar, but incorporate fat instead.
So replace sugar with more fat.
Yes. For example, avocados and other high-fat foods, but I don't really understand the rationale here.
All right, and the reason why Pat doesn't get the rationale is that fat actually has more calories than sugar, which is a carbohydrate, more than twice as many calories. So the idea being that they're saying eat more fat to eat fewer calories, it really just doesn't completely add up. Not to mention, there's sugar in pretty much everything. There's sugar in fruit, there's sugar in potatoes, which are perfectly fine. And what a lot of people don't even realize, when you eat food through a very, very confusing process that I won't even throw out the name, a lot of foods, proteins, fats, carbohydrates, they all break down into sugar into your body. So the whole idea of avoiding sugar is kind of a broken mentality. Not to mention, it's the holiday. It's the holiday. Your job is to eat and enjoy. Should you maybe be worried about sugar every other day of the week? Sure, not as in completely avoiding it, but limiting it. But on the holiday, it's one day. I say go ahead, eat, enjoy, and don't stress it. Especially if you're going to start replacing all of your sugar with fat, you're probably going to end up eating a lot more calories, and you probably will gain more weight then.
Seems pretty counterintuitive, especially if I'm going to spend the whole day worried about what exactly has the sugar and checking the nutrition labels, trying to avoid it. Seems like it can take away from a lot of things that I'm trying to do that day.
Right, the holidays are to spend time with friends and family.
Right.
I mean, I think every single year we get to this point of year where we are talking about what you should avoid, what you shouldn't be doing, and the mentality should be during those days to do whatever you want, do whatever feels right. And the focus should be that if you are good or on target or in control of your eating the rest of the year, you have the right and ability to not stress and eat what you want. It's never the small detail. It's never the one day or the 2 days or the couple off days. It's the majority that makes all the difference. So I wouldn't even stress about replacing sugar with fat. It just overcomplicates the situation. You're going to be looking at everything being like, is this a fat or is this a sugar? And a lot of times we even combine that. You'd be better off just eating the food, enjoying, having fun with the people you're with, having an extra serving of pie or 3, and go from there.
Okay, well then if we're going to say sugar is okay, well, unfortunately the Daily Star out of the UK.
Ooh, we have a client in the UK, Molly.
We do.
Hey, Molly.
Molly, don't read this. But the Daily Star is saying, if it's not sugar, the number one ingredient making you fat, okay,
is
not sugar, because I just clarified that.
so it can't be pie.
Not going to be pie.
Christmas ham?
Can you even eat that?
I can. It's not kosher.
Okay. Salt.
Salt. Oh, salt's making us fat.
Yes, salt is the number one ingredient making you fat. And they referenced an Australian study which said people who ate in a study that they performed, people who ate pasta with a salty sauce consumed 11% more calories than those that ate a less salty sauce. And what they're trying to say is the real danger was with high salt and high fat, because the combo overrides our body's ability to feel full and therefore cause us to continue eating and consume more calories.
Oh boy. I mean, there's a lot of questions I would have about that in terms of the study itself. Like, do you even know where they can find, like, comparing, like, people would have, like, pasta with sauce versus, like, pasta with sauce with more salt?
Right.
Do they both have sauce? Do we even know?
A lot of it also, I mean, it's kind of the age-old question of causation or correlation, and
You definitely can't make causation. So most studies don't look at, like, did A cause B? Did the salt in the sauce cause people to eat more? All they saw is that they took probably observational data, so people had this saltier sauce, and they found that people who had them ate more. Now, there are a variety of factors that could have caused these people to eat more. But the bigger picture is, do people have to start stressing about salt intake? And in general, I would say no. For a long time, probably about 10 to 15 years, even more, like, everyone worried about salt intake, where it's actually an important mineral that your body needs. You need salt. So saying that salt, when it is almost in all foods, let's be honest, is causing people to overeat, is just causing you to major in the minor.
right.
And the reality is there's a whole host of factors that can cause anyone to overeat. And it could be from what you're eating in an entire day, such as, are you taking in enough protein? The more protein you take, usually the more you control your appetite, because protein is a very satiating, it's a very filling macronutrient. It could be, do you exercise? Did you sleep enough? How is stress levels? The things that actually make a huge difference in hunger levels are going to be big picture lifestyle habits, and never something tiny. It's never going to be, oh, this one food is going to make all the difference. This is what you see happen in a lot of different diet books. I'm now waiting for someone to come up with a salt-free diet book, which would be a terrible mistake, because if you were to deplete your body of salt, you could cause a host of other health issues. So the issue is, anytime you see an article like this that's like, hey, we know why people overeat, it's because of this food or this nutrient or salt, it's usually an overstatement. And, like, that's the type of stuff that you want to avoid. This is the type of stuff that drives someone crazy, because next week there will be another study talking about how, I don't even know, calcium makes you fat or overeat, and it's never as simple as that. It's always bigger picture processes that you want to worry about. So I really wouldn't stress the salt.
Okay, and then moving on to the next topic.
Okay.
WebMD.
Oh, big one.
Big one, right?
Big one.
Very reliable source.
I'm a little scared now.
Yeah. I was actually pretty surprised to see this, because traditionally you would kind of assume WebMD would be a reliable source. But I came across something that said, the title was Holiday Food Traps.
Okay.
And it's about 13 foods that should be avoided come the holidays.
All right, 13 foods that should be avoided. Can you give me a taste of some of them?
Yeah, let me go down this list very quick.
Okay.
Okay, starting with foods to avoid.
Okay.
Turkey skin, stuffing,
So good, delicious.
buttery mashed potatoes, sweet potato casserole, pecan pie, fancy finger foods, pigs in a blanket, potato pancakes, caramel popcorn, eggnog, mixed drinks, cakes and cookies, and milk chocolate. My question for you is, if I am supposed to avoid all of those foods, do I even celebrate the holidays?
Cancel it.
And cancel it?
Cancel Christmas and Hanukkah.
Well,
I don't think anything's left.
I don't think much is left. The only thing I do know is at the end of the article, it gave me strategies on how to survive the holidays. Number one, when you're at the party, talk to people.
It's good to be social.
Be social and ultimately just avoid all food.
Right.
Or if you are going to sit down, sit and stand as far away from the buffet table as possible.
Now that's confusing, because people are usually around the food. So how are you supposed to be social if you're away from the people?
Your cell phone.
Ah.
You're going to sit on Instagram. You can like my photos.
You can tweet it out.
You You can follow me on Instagram
What's that?
if you want. I
What's
guess.
that? Is that a plug?
Maybe. I need followers. You can excuse yourself after you eat and chew gum. Now, I will say this before we jump into that. I do, because I have a tremendous ability to eat large amounts of food, I do resort to gum. And another trick that I've also learned is to brush my teeth immediately after I do eat dinner or some sort of large portion to control my quantity size. Now, that's something that I've done for myself.
I just always thought like your stomach hurt after you ate.
And I actually, true fact, I don't have a sense of smell. So I am very self-conscious about body and mouth. I don't want to have bad breath. But it actually is a trick, so I eliminate that taste in my mouth. But I find this very problematic just from the standpoint that they do list alternatives and how to try to make them quote unquote more healthy. But once again, kind of the whole theme and what we see in a lot of these articles is this idea that you're supposed to eliminate food or stay away. And it just makes me so nervous going into the holidays where I'm now, what can I eat?
Yeah, I mean, we see this a lot with our coaching clients, that people are just so stressed around the holidays. And it's time when you're not working, you're with your family, with your friends, you get to celebrate, you get to relax, and people are freaking out about exercise or diet. And this is really what we try and fight against more than anything else. 1 day, 2 days, it doesn't make a difference. And for a lot of people, it's hard to understand. Like, you could eat all of these foods within 1 day. I read a study that between Christmas and New Year's, they say that the average person, and you get varying data on this, but the average person gains 1 pound. Are we going to stress about eating all this for 1 pound, which could just fluctuate, could just be water weight?
Right.
Are we going to freak out about that? But like, people are like, oh no, if I eat so much, it's going to make me fat, it's going to throw me off my plan. And the best way to put this is, imagine if you did a 4-hour workout. I'm not telling you to go do a 4-hour workout, Pat. But imagine if you did a 4-hour workout and then you said, because I did this 4 hours, I don't have to work out the other 6 days of the week. I'm going to be shredded. I'm going to be lean. I'm going to look good. This is how people treat food. They're like, if I eat too big on Thanksgiving or I eat too big on Christmas, it's going to throw everything off. And it doesn't. This is why we preach to everyone to enjoy, to not stress, to eat. Because if you're on target the rest of the time, eat and enjoy, don't stress, and then, come the beginning of the week, get back on track.
Right.
You're going to enjoy it. It's not going to make a difference. It is, we always talk about that kind of that 80-20 rule, 90-10 rule, that like if 80% of the time you are on track and 20% of the time you're off, that works. Now you can focus within a day, like 20% of what you eat in a day is just going to be tiny snacks and indulgences that you enjoy, or you can even look at it in terms of a week. If like 6 out of 7 days you're going to go out there and like you eat pretty healthy, and like 1 day out of the week you just go and enjoy. That sounds pretty balanced to me, and it's more likely to keep people on plan. The least effective diets are the one that creates so much restriction that people just feel like they don't get to eat anything they want and they quit. Right. The problem with diets is that people quit prematurely. They quit. About 50% of people who start a diet quit within 4 weeks, and they follow that by 14 weeks of not being on a diet. So if you're choosing any type of plan, especially during the holidays, that forces you to feel like you are uncomfortable, like it's not sustainable, hit the eject button.
Well, let's take the extreme on that approach. Okay? Because let's take, in my example, Santa Claus.
Are you Santa?
Well, maybe. But Forbes had an article in which a Dave Consiglio, a chemistry and physics high school teacher, and community college professor, looked into what would happen if Santa Claus ate,
I'm already there,
3 cookies and a glass of milk, which is standard. I believe as a child I put out 3 cookies and a glass of milk, and it was always gone when I woke up in the morning.
If he just ate that, or ate that at every house?
He ate that at every single house. So the assumption is 3 cookies, 1 glass of milk, an assumption of 2 billion households. And the last assumption is that Santa does not burn any calories throughout the process.
That would explain why he's a bigger dude.
It's very limited in his mobility. He rides around in a sled.
Makes sense.
He goes down the chimney. Which is at my house with a clogged chimney. It's actually a problem right now. And then it's not a lot of calories being burned.
So
how much weight is he going to put on Now that you're telling me one day's not going to ruin it for you, Santa,
3 cookies in a glass of milk times 2 billion homes.
2 billion.
That's more than I can count.
Okay, how much do you think he gains?
A lot.
400 million pounds.
It's a lot.
It's going to be a heavy man. I would imagine he might be diabetic.
I mean, but I got a problem with that though. Because like around like what, house number 100, he's not going to eat all 3. He's not. Maybe he starts like dragging the sleigh and all the
Well, then I think
because
you're
like,
gonna
he's
be-
just feeling like worn down.
Well, but you have to, there's a lot then you have to look into him. You have to also take into consideration on one sled, he's going to have enough presents for 2 billion households.
Right, but
So
he's
there's
got to
a lot
carry. He's
you're
got to
throwing
carry. You don't like? Doesn't he like carry the sack down too? So that's a weighted carry. That's a lot of exercise.
You like carrot sex. Okay, so anyways, that I thought was very interesting.
All right,
We have one question
we even got
coming
one.
from social media,
I love one.
and it's from our guy, Garth,
Garth. Which platform is he on?
Twitter.
Twitter. Garth.
Okay. He tweeted to you, actually, not to me. Anyone wants to tweet me, you can do that as well. He wants to know why you don't talk about putting butter in your coffee.
Bulletproof people, close your ears right now.
Yes.
The reason, earmuffs.
Earmuffs.
The reason I don't talk about putting butter in my coffee, which I have tried before, it is delicious.
It really is delicious. Yeah.
I don't see any purpose. I take my coffee black. A lot of people are like, oh, putting butter in your coffee will leave you more full and give you more mental awareness. Well, of course it's going to leave you more full because like a stick of butter is a whole lot of calories. If I had a stick of butter alone, I wouldn't want to eat for a while. I might vomit also. But, I mean, that's going to leave you full. And the mental awareness, it's called the caffeine in coffee. Oh, and you're not hungry? It's also called caffeine because that blunts your appetite. So I don't put butter in my coffee because I like it black and because like the legitimate science behind the benefits of putting butter in your coffee is just there is none. I'm sorry. I mean, if there was and if it ever changes, I'll change my tune. But I mean, there is legitimately no scientific data behind the fact that putting butter in your coffee will be, one, either good for you or two, lead to more mental awareness. There's no way to say that it's because of the butter and not because of the caffeine. Or it's no way to say that it's because of the butter and the caffeine combo that you're not hungry or just because you took down 600 calories.
Right.
You go to eat a 600 calorie meal, you're probably going to be feeling pretty full. So a lot of people will do this when they're fasting or they're intermittent fasting, but you're not really fasting. If you just ate 600 calories, your fast is over.
For sure broke the fast.
Definitely broke the fast. So I don't put butter in my coffee because I just don't see a reason. But if you choose to, if you enjoy it, more power to you. There's really not legitimate science to back up the reasons why people say, I would just rather take my coffee straight without the butter.
And it's not that you're saying to completely avoid it. Once again, it goes back to if you enjoy it, go for it.
I'm a big believer that like everyone's going to have personal preferences.
Right.
Sometimes the reason why you have to do something doesn't have to be rooted in science. I'm not mad at anyone who puts butter in their coffee. If they ask me about the benefits of it, am I going to say, oh yeah, putting butter in your coffee is going to be the healthiest thing or best thing or it's going to create all this mental clarity? I'm not going to lie to them just to make them feel better about it. I will tell them that if they enjoy this, if they enjoy this habit, it's something that they do, it's part of their lifestyle, something that feels doable, go for it. But I don't want anyone to be misinformed as to why to do it. You have so many people that are taking on certain strategies just because they've been sold a bunch of lies. If you want to do something, go for it. But you should at least know the reason why you are doing what you are doing and not doing it just because you're buying into a whole other set of lies.
Right.
Anything else?
That is it.
We made it through the first episode.
We made it through. We survived the first one.
It's a pretty awesome shirt you got on.
I appreciate that.
Swanson strollers.
It wasn't even leg day and I wore it.
I know. It's a lifestyle.
And I didn't push Bodie around today, so I feel like a false
The
false
intern appreciated
advertisement.
it.
Yeah, I think so too. But that does conclude our first episode of That's Healthy, Right? And if you guys do have any more questions or stuff you want us to address, go ahead and tweet at them at Born Fitness, and we will try to get after those as they come in. otherwise, you guys have an amazing holiday. Adam, I will see you on Sunday to drop off presents.
Say that. You're going to come visit my house?
I am. I want those cookies and the milk.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays.
We'll be back next week with more news that we will make sense of.
Go ahead and turn it off.